I'm gonna confess, I don't actually know how to work this thing. I think
I want to talk
I have to
about
hit a button.
commodity-based pricing versus matrix pricing. It's probably not very exciting.
No, it's probably not. David has had some serious concerns lately. What?
Don't worry, your skin tone's great, David. You don't need a tan.
He probably does.
The doodad on YouTube still says ASOG. So
what?
That's a thing. I don't know.
So here's a question: I
just hit buttons?
Can I turn David's audio up on his channel so that I can hear him louder than you, Lucas?
I mean, I'm sure you could.
You can in the software, I think.
He's just very
When I do that, Lucas, can I turn yours down so far that I can't hear you?
Sure.
Why would you do that?
I think I can do that. Look, watch. Boop. There you go.
No, don't
Michael
do that. You're just
Allen.
going to mess things up. You're going to mess things up.
Who's going to mess things up? You?
You are.
Okay, well, I'll stop messing with things.
We have training on Saturday. I will not be there.
Hey, hold
Lucas
up.
will be there.
Hold up.
And Mike Allen?
No, Mike Allen won't be there. You two are sellouts.
Nobody's going to be there other than Lucas. So
you two are sellouts.
Yeah, it's just going to be Lucas. Lucas is going to be training himself.
Let me tell you something. So David was supposed to come, and I set up this really nice reservation at the Gamekeeper. Mike, have you ever been to the Gamekeeper?
Yeah, I had my my what's the meal the night before your wedding? Rehearsal dinner was at the Gamekeeper.
Yeah, and so would you consider it a nice restaurant?
Yeah, very much so. It's great.
Yeah, and so David's missing that. And
it's one of the most exclusive high country restaurants. Like, it's hard to get in.
Yeah, and so it took me I got this reservation months ago, and David bails.
Months ago.
You just call up and they're like, "Oh, it's Lucas. We'll get the table out front for you."
No, that's
front,
not how this works at all.
Like,
I had to pay like $400, and I was like, "I'm not canceling this reservation. It cost me $400."
It was like $150.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, I exaggerated. I'm sorry, but
well, I mean, that's the dessert.
Hyperbole is your chosen method of communication.
I'm gonna get a bison hanger. I hear it's delicious. David, what were you gonna get? We're all curious.
Emu, apparently. It's gonna have emu something.
David wanted to go live before you came in. He's got two serious issues today. And the first is that no one understands his version of the podcast. Okay?
Whoa.
Not even me.
Whoa. He just threw me under the
show,
bus.
It's the Seinfeld of automotive podcasts. It's a show about nothing.
No, well, I mean, that's what. No, it is not. It is not about anything. What are you talking about? No. Listen.
I'm sorry. It's about celebrity weddings and divorces and upgrading.
That was just your episode, dear.
That's 50% of what I've heard.
That was your episode. Listen to the other episodes. We're not talking about that. That was just your episode. Here's the thing. Whenever we whenever we have Paul Danner on, we had him and his lovely wife.
Don't you have a cough button? Don't you have a cough button?
QT, I'm still waiting for the phone call.
I'm a bougie bitch.
No, don't do that.
You very much are.
I'm trying to get QT sponsorship. Anyway, whenever we have them on, he shares our stuff, which always gets us new listeners, new viewers, which is awesome.
And we need to preface that we really appreciate that more than you could ever imagine.
We absolutely love it. It's the best thing ever, because all of a sudden we have all these new viewers, and we retain about 10% of them. The other 90% jump on, and they're like, "What is this? I don't understand." They had a topic, and they're not even talking about it, and it's an hour plus of them talking about everything except the topic, and then they mention the topic once, and then that's it. I don't understand.
And they're talking about all these people that they've never heard of.
Yeah,
it's because you got to go back and you got to listen to it all the way through to learn the backstory, to get all the inside jokes.
Yeah, you have to listen to every episode.
Every episode. Start on episode 1. So
3 times each.
Yes, I play it on the loop. Anyway,
this is very Quentin Tarantino kind of stuff here.
No. It's not like that. It's not like that. We're not. Yeah, it isn't that calculated. It isn't. We're not that talented. And so we have to explain this every single time. And here's the thing. I just listened to a Joe Rogan episode where he and Elon Musk sat on camera and on the mic chewing on anchovy pineapple pizza. That was it. It was 2.5 hours, 3 hours, whatever, and it was a solid 20 minutes of them just chewing into the microphone anchovy pineapple pizza. Just is it good?
I'm gonna seriously set some
good.
people off.
That was it. This is the number one podcast in the world. The number one podcast in the world was a billionaire and a multimillionaire MMA fighter, comedian guy chewing pineapple anchovy pizza into the microphone. What was the topic? I don't know. But guess what? Millions of people listened to it. That's it. That's our podcast.
It's
anchovy pineapple pizza into the microphone.
They're slightly more interesting to the general public than we are.
Yeah, I mean,
you say that, but then listen to that episode and you're like, huh, these are really uninteresting people. They have nothing to talk about. They chewed pineapple anchovy pizza into the microphone for 20 minutes. Hey, you should try some of this. I don't like fish. There was a whole discussion about that.
But here's the thing: is the podcast really does represent what we would talk about if the three of us were sitting around talking about something, right?
The podcast
if we were
is a
sitting in
casual
that group, that's
conversation
the conversation we'd have.
Friends. Yes.
Yeah. And so the conversations I have are a little more structured and make a little bit of sense, and not much by any means. And then you throw you into the mix, and things fall all to pieces.
No conversation is structured and has a topic and a theme. And no, you have people on you want to sit down and talk to. That's it. That's the podcast. We have people we want to sit down and want to talk with. They sit down and we have a conversation. The conversation is like every other conversation normal people have who converse
I guess it's
with
one of
other
those
people.
deals. If you know, you know.
I swear.
I think
okay. So topic number
we've
2
all
is
we've all done the
number
training
2.
events and had good times at training events. But the biggest value you get at any training event is hanging out around the bar or at the restaurant afterwards when it's more intimate and the conversation is. Hey, my kids just got home. And the conversation is more casual and more free flowing, and that's a much more effective conversation, and you learn more that way.
Yeah,
and that's what you guys do.
Yep, I got this
unless
really
we're
cool
talking about
message from
celebrity
somebody.
marriages.
I got this message from somebody the other night that was talking about how it had affected him, and like it was us having a conversation about where he was at. Right. And I can't remember whose story it was. It may have been mine that I was telling. And he's like, I was exactly right there. 100%. That was where I was at. And so that's kind of what the podcast is about. It's not supposed to be structured. It's supposed to be us telling our stories and our experiences and chatting. I mean, we want to have fun doing this.
They're just conversations. Don't try to put meaning to it. They're meaningless conversations. They're meaningless, unstructured conversations. Not to say they're useless. They're not useless. I think they're interesting. I have to listen to all of them like 6 times.
The conversation.
There's no meaning behind the conversation. Yeah, there's no intent. The intent is to have an interesting conversation. That's the intent. Now, if you don't find them interesting, I get it.
You know, sticker up on the screen right now. Where's that clip art button?
I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind.
What's wrong, David?
I swear.
You don't like that
Topic
term?
number 2. This is what I'm going to rename this. We have training on Saturday, free training in North Carolina. So that guy who said, hey, there's no training in Kentucky, I think Kentucky is close enough to North Carolina, right? Kind of, sort of. How many hours are you away from Kentucky?
Depends on where in Kentucky, but as close as you can get to Kentucky and North Carolina is here.
Yeah, 5 hours.
Yeah.
6 hours. Maybe not that
from
far.
Lexington.
No, I don't know. I've never searched it. I can't remember.
No, I'm gonna look.
Mike is gonna search it.
I'm gonna search it too. Lexington.
It's 6 hours.
Yeah, 5.5, 6 hours. Good.
Yeah, so there you go. 6 hours. He's 6 hours away from training, from free training. So don't say there isn't training available. There is training available.
And there'll be a lot of that conversation over broken bread and beer. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Why is it always
So-
alcohol with you? Why? It doesn't need to be alcohol. Diet Coke.
I mean,
Diet Coke and some
Heineken Zero.
No, Diet Coke and some beef. No bread. Low carb. Let's keep it low carb.
David was just sharing with me this experience he had yesterday. He ate 2 donuts. You know, he's on this very strict diet. He ate 2 donuts, and he said, well, since I've already ruined my diet, I must eat 17 pieces of candy. And so then he must eat 17 more pieces of candy because he feels bad about eating the first 17 pieces of candy.
It's a downward spiral. And then
Try
it
to
just
fill the
ends
hole in your heart with processed sugar.
with
Man, that's a
sugar and
big hole to
carbs.
fill.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have free training. So 3 things. We have free training on Saturday in North Carolina. Topic number 2 is the podcast is just interesting conversations. There are no topics. And then number 3,
You just said topic number 2 was no topics.
He's
saying.
right, David.
You literally said no topics in
That's-
your list of topics.
Okay, that's the joke behind it. If you say the joke, it's not funny anymore. God,
We're
jeez.
laughing. What's topic number 3, sir?
Topic number 3 is that if you know gets mentioned one more time on the internet, I'm going to lose my ever flipping mind. That is the stupidest phrase. I don't know who coined it, but I'm going to hunt them down, and I'm going to pelt them with a rope.
Why? Why does it
Doesn't
bother
bruise
you so
us.
much? Why must you control
It's a
other people,
me-
David?
It's not. It's a meaning. People, look, it's not even that. It's not. I don't want to control anybody. I just be a little bit more mindful about what you post. That's all I'm saying. Be mindful of what you're posting. Because if you just saw some other person posting a meaningless tautology and I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, I'm going to post it, and then post, and you have, like, what does that even mean? I don't know. It's supposed to, like, no. Don't post it. Don't hashtag it.
Is
Don't
it those
hashtag it.
attention grabbers? Is that what it is? Like, if you know, it's kind of like those folks who post like prayers, can you pray for me? God knows the name.
I think it's people who create content online that are videos of them watching other videos and responding. Reaction videos. Only jackasses do reaction videos, right?
Oh, yeah, we're definitely jackasses. We've done some, so we kind of
If
fit
you
the
know,
bill.
you know.
I hate it so much. Look, reactionary content is entirely valid. There's nothing wrong with it, unless
works.
you
People
are
watch it.
like what's that chickie from YouTube that got canceled? She got her channel shut down or
who was it?
demonetized or something. Some like SS Sniper Wolf, I think is her name. I think that's
I
her
have no
name.
clue.
News
So-
to me, brother.
So here's the thing: is one of the things that I thought we'd
SS
talk about.
Sniper Wolf. She got her entire channel. The latest was that she got demonetized, but she had doxed somebody, and she got upset because she got called out for doing reaction videos, but they weren't reaction videos. She was just grabbing stuff off of TikTok or whatever and just posting it, and she'd be like, "Oh, ha," and then that was it. That was the entire. Her entire channel, and she was getting millions of views because she's a cute girl, and people want to watch the cute girl watching other videos. Apparently, I don't even know, but she wasn't tagging the original creator. She wasn't sending them any traffic, whatever. She was just stealing their content. And there's another guy who does it too. He's a pop singer.
Who was the dude that everybody kept
Jason
posting
Derulo.
in the Changing the Industry group? You know what I'm talking about? He was a mobile tech, and it was like clearly obvious he did not know what he was talking about. I mean, it was like painfully obvious. Like Mike Allen's not a technician, and went, "Oh, ouch, God, please don't share that."
Didn't that
Did you
just
see
get
that? You know who?
recently shared?
Do what?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, everybody saw that.
That was terrible. That was
What
cringeworthy.
does that
man.
have anything to do with it? We're talking about reaction videos here.
Yeah, I'm having a reaction to that video. That's my point. It was terrible.
Jason Derulo, who had a fairly popular song back in the day. What song was it? I don't know what song. He had a song.
I've never
Want to
heard you
Want
listen
Me?
to music. I don't think I've ever heard you listen to music. Like you sit in a car in silence.
He has a song that he's saying that's fairly popular. Anyway, he has an entire TikTok channel or something where he's supposed to be reacting to videos, but he's not actually watching the videos. He has like 4 clips of himself watching something. Then he has a content creator take that and paste it over somebody else's viral content. And that's the reaction video. And he'd be like, with him like working out or like walking on a treadmill, shirt off because he's all ripped. And he's like,
We should
You
get
should
you to
that's
do
it.
that, David.
Can you
That's
do
the
that,
content.
Get you to do that.
Shirtless. I'll do it.
It just
I'll 100% do it.
David's
Man boobs
shirtless
all hanging
reactions
out,
to Scotty Kilmer
Hair
videos.
everywhere. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
yes. Yes. 100%.
Shirtless Scotty Kilmer reaction videos.
The
Okay.
point, though, see that
No,
I'm just
there
gonna
is no
film
point.
myself.
You just said there was no point. You said this is all pointless conversation. Now you said my point is.
This is,
Why
I'm
do
telling
you
you, it's
keep
the
contradicting
Seinfeld of the
yourself?
aftermarket.
What?
Did I say my point is?
Yes, you said my point
I
is.
didn't say that. No.
You know this is recorded, right? We're
am
going to
going
be able to go
to-
back and watch it.
Yeah, I know. I am going to record myself walking on a treadmill, shirt off, super sweaty, just drenched in sweat. And then I'm going to take that and just paste it on top of Scotty Kilmer videos. And then I'm going to repost that in the YouTube channel and just run with it. See what
You
happens.
won't do it. You won't do
The
it.
hell I won't. Thinks I won't. Pfft, get out of here.
Deadline by Monday. First one up by Monday.
How shirtless do it? Can I blur out some of the? There's a lot of
Yeah,
jiggle
you
in
should
that.
put
I don't.
you should put
I think that'll
emoji
distract
like
people.
censoring
All the jiggles. The what? Censor what?
I have to edit myself. My daughter just walked in.
Okay.
You
So
don't
our
want your
point-
daughter watching these man nipples, okay? Just bouncing
Oh,
around.
that's what I was gonna say. You have to edit.
Holy
you
cow!
have to
Are
put,
those erasers?
you have to put some. You have to
I'll
put
put
some
pasties.
emojis over there.
I'll put
Yeah.
emojis. I'll put emojis over. You'll see the hair.
That
but
is
no
one big
nipple.
emoji. Let me tell you.
There's one big emoji.
All right. So this
There'll
whole
be
thing
eggplants
was supposed to be talking
right
about
on
Mike
top of
Allen.
them.
And the fact Mike Allen sold us out, he's not going to show up tomorrow, and that's terrible, right? And so here's
We're in
the
the
whole
same
deal:
state.
is
Why aren't
David
you showing
bails,
up?
Mike bails. Y'all are both terrible people. I mean, there's still going to be a lot of people there, a whole lot of cooler people than y'all, so it's okay. But anyway,
Dude, I'm a 3-hour plane ride. Mike Allen's what, 2 hours away? 2.5?
I'm a 3-hour drive, so equidistant time wise.
Not when
What's
you
your excuse
factor in TSA security checkpoints and
You know you've got clear and
I do have
pre-check and all that.
clear. I don't have pre-check. I do have clear.
pre-check is awesome. You can't travel without pre-check. Look,
Clear?
because of who
Too.
Mike
You
Allen's
just go up.
brother is, he just walks into the airport and they're like, Mr. Allen, let's roll out the red carpet right this way, sir. That's how that works. Anyway,
This is his brother.
So,
I don't know his
I-
brother. I don't know.
I've not talked
if
to you
I
about
know,
this,
I
Mike.
don't know.
If
What-
you know,
I
you
don't
know.
He's gonna have a heart
I
attack.
hate that phrase so much. I hate that phrase so much.
So, Mike, in all seriousness, yesterday I was invited to a meeting in Boone, which had the who's who of CTE education in North Carolina. And it was powerful, right? There were business owners there. There was the CTE directors and principals and superintendents and presidents of community colleges and this whole great group of people, right? Some of the same people we saw when we were at our at that meeting we went to, right? His QT cup?
Yes.
What's that?
He turned the logo and moved his hand out of the way so it wasn't blocking it.
He's just trying to show them that he's capable of this. That's all this is, man.
No, we have. Hold on. I just we have real sponsors we need to mention. Sorry, go ahead.
Shopware.
We'll get the Shopware.
Yeah, we got Shopware. Shopware is legit. But either way, I thought it was super inspirational, right? Because the CTE director gets up and he does his shindig about what they're trying to accomplish. And it was literally a meeting about all skilled trades in North Carolina. And it's a meeting about like, hey, what does industry need from us? And here's what we need from industry. And here's the problems. Here's the challenges that we face, right? And it was so inspirational because one of the things that I think industry has often felt about the educational system is that, you know, we're worried about butts in seats. We're worried about the education process. We're not necessarily worried about the student going through the process. And I know that the teachers often are, and we're super blessed. Eric is an amazing automotive instructor. But these instructors and these principals and these administrators of these schools basically said, and each of them in their own way, what we really care about is raising the next generation of Americans in a positive way that gets us in a better place than where we are today. We want to make the world a better place, and we want to make them sustainable, smart Americans. And so one of the things they were talking about is entrepreneurship and the importance of like, hey, we can teach them a skilled trade. But many of them are either doing dual roles. In other words, they're going to work for somebody and then they've got a side hustle, right? Because it's extremely expensive to live up here. So you almost have to have a side hustle if you're going to have a regular job. But what's so interesting about this is that they were saying, hey, we've got to teach entrepreneurship for these guys who are coming out. They're going through skilled trade training, but we're not teaching them how to run a business. And that's something that we see every single day in our trade. Is these kids don't know how to run a business and they think that they do because they know a trade. And so I was so inspired by that. I hate you weren't there. I'm going to make sure you get an invite to the next meeting, but that's what the meeting tomorrow night and the meeting Saturday is all about, is because they're advisory council meetings. We threw in some free training. We threw in some free food to make sure everybody had a reason to be there beyond just the advisory council. But these are the two most unique schools you'll ever see because of the way they teach the kids. And I've got a selfish reason for doing all this. And the selfish reason is that Eric Mortensen is an extremely, extremely passionate instructor. He's fired up and he wants to do this for the right reasons. He wants to do this to help the kids. He wants to do this to help the industry. And if as industry, we don't support them and we don't show up for them, it's not going to be long until he gets burnt out doing it. And so I think it's important that we support them and set this as the golden standard of automotive education. Mike, you've seen the school. I don't know that you've seen the schools, but you've met the instructors.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, you can see the energy, and I think he was energized by the interactions that he gets with you and other people from the trade, right? Because so many CTE instructors aren't getting that regular feedback and interaction and help from tradesmen after they go away. But you know, the energy that he's got's infectious. So I think we need to be making a concerted effort to find these standout, you know, top 1% programs around the country. And if there's anybody who's doing it different and is breaking the mold or kind of, you know, figured out the key for their community, how to do it. I had coffee with Jim Kokonis yesterday, and he was talking about a program in California where it's a functional automotive repair facility where the public school system has got 20 students in there every day, and he's teaching a class alongside. It's like a teaching hospital, right, where doctors are going rounds with residents, and it's a functioning shop, and the students are in there learning, working on customer cars. And the customers understand that it's going to take longer and it will be slow, and you know there are limitations and that kind of thing. But hands-on to high school kids, hands-on experience. There's a lot of huge, things dude. There's a lot of things I wonder about how that works, right? The logistics of how that works, but it's a pretty neat idea.
Well, you know, and so that's how this.
When
high
I went
school
through
works.
tech school, that's what it was. When I went through tech school, it was
but see, this
morning was book work, and then the afternoon you worked on cars.
Yeah, but you didn't work on paying customers' cars.
Yeah,
You worked
they weren't paying because they were you could get your car worked on for free. You just had to pay for parts. That's it.
Well, so at the high school, that's one interesting thing that he does at the high school that I've never seen a high school do, which is they work on teacher cars. And it's, how do you talk to the client? How do you order the parts? What do the numbers need to look like, and how do you set this up? What does that conversation sound like? And so they cover the curriculum that they have to cover. And I think that's part of the problem. I think the curriculums are somewhat broken, right? They're not set up for success. And I know that in the high school realm, they're doing what they have to do, and they're trying to make them safe. They're trying to make them basic knowledge ready. And it's our job to train them after they get out of high school and community college. That's really our job. They get some good knowledge in community college, but when they get out, it is our job to make sure that we're reinforcing. Now, look, the North Carolina school system, they changed some things, and they were saying that, hey, because they were so worried about getting these kids into the skilled trades as quickly as possible, that they're changing credit hour requirements. It used to be something like 26, and they've changed it to 22, so a kid can graduate in 2 or 3 years. And they're getting out super early, and they're going right to work. And my message to them was, I've seen, David, you were there for the podcast, but Mike, I've sent you the IMR report that says that students that are counseled and coached by a parent to go to the next level of school, be it community college, trade school, 4-year degree, are more likely to follow that path. 46% of the kids that don't have that coaching go right into the workforce. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because when you go right into the workforce, it's because you've been in school all these years. You don't really know what you're passionate about. You don't really know what you want to do. But our industry is extremely terrible for pulling the kids out of the workforce or out of school to go into the workforce. And so instead of letting them go through school and get some of the skills and the talent they need, we put them in the meat grinder and have them sweeping the floor and doing lube work. And then the next thing you know, we're spitting them out because they didn't grow fast enough for us. And so I think that's got to change for sure.
Well,
I
that's
entirely disagree with everything you just said.
Oh,
Let's hear
Sorry.
it.
do continue.
No, really?
Yeah.
You send them to school. The schools, not the school that you have great schools around you, Lucas. The schools here in Kansas are not so great because they get large endowments from the big dealerships, and the dealerships get first dibs, and so they pump the dealerships full of these kids right out of school. They only learned what the dealership wanted them to learn, and that's how to work the lube rack and how to do an inspection, sell lots of air filters and flushes and things like that. And these kids get disillusioned because they get thrown into these dealerships that are, working 7 days a week, 7 to 7, 7 to 8, and they don't get an opportunity to actually diagnose vehicles, work on anything interesting, learn new stuff. Like, that's not happening. It's, hey, you're on flat rate now. You got to flag 25 hours min within 6 months, or we're going to fire you. That whole thing. And they just need a constant supply of fresh meat, and that's what the schools provide here.
Dude, you are 100% right, and that's why industry has to be involved. Right, because we've allowed that.
The industry cannot get involved because I don't have millions of dollars to give to the school, and the school can give two craps what some
that's not
random.
But
think
some
about,
of them
but
are. Yes, some of
think
them
about
are.
the relationship that Lucas is building with the educators in his market. He's supporting them on a personal level, and he's building, and so the educators, the instructors, like Lucas, more than they do the dealer guys, right? The dealer guys wrote the checks, but the checks didn't go to the educator. The check went to the school, right? And so that educator is going to be pointing the star pupil or pupils to Lucas when Lucas wants one, because he's developing a personal relationship versus writing a check. There's some value to that, right? But it takes like one-on-one,
absolutely, and
focused
here's
effort.
the deal: is they don't know. Right? They don't know what it is that we're looking for. They're looking for input, and the dealers aren't giving input. They're giving money. And I think the instructors recognize they're simply trying to buy the student.
They're giving input. They're giving input.
No, they're not
like,
there.
hey, we need them.
Dude, they're not there. They're not there. They're not there. They're not there. Dude, I've been to the advisory councils. They don't show up. They don't show up. Nobody's showing up to these meetings. No one is showing up to the advisory council meetings. They do. You just don't go because you didn't find out about them.
No, you have to apply to be on the council. You have to apply to go to the meeting or whatever, and they then determine the curriculum. Guess what they don't do? Consider you, because you're not donating $50,000, $100,000 to the program.
That has never been the case in North Carolina that I've seen. I've
That's in
not
North
seen
Carolina.
that in North
I'm
Carolina.
just telling you, like, you guys have a
Well,
freak
maybe North Carolina
setup.
needs to be training automotive technicians to send the rest of the way around the country. Maybe
That
that's
might
what
be a
we've got to
thing.
do then.
Hey, Biotech was huge. They had students coming in from all over the country. That might be a thing. You guys set up a nationwide deal. I'm just telling you what it's like somewhere else other than North Carolina. It's a lot more difficult to get your foot in the door with some of these educators. And yeah, is it going to take personal? Look, I don't make friends. That's what Lucas does. That's why he's making friends. Like, he's just out and doing. That's what he does. I don't do that. But would I like to show up and rant at the advisory council? Yeah, absolutely. I just don't get in on these deals. I have applied. And it doesn't seem to make a difference.
Do you think it had something to do with you yelling at the tax people, yelling at the police officers when they come in to give you the tax warrants? I mean, like, do you think any of that had anything to do with it?
That shouldn't have anything to do with it. I'm probably on a list. Like, do not take any advice from this person here. It's a terrible idea. It's not a bad thing to push them directly into the field. It's not a bad thing. I don't know why. Look, I have 2 kids. I do not want them to go to college right out of high school.
Dude,
I do not want them to go to college right out of school. Look, it's a waste of money. It's a massive waste of money.
We're sending them. If
bare
we're paying
minimum,
for it, they're not paying for it. Mom and dad aren't paying for it. The student's not paying for it. We're sending them to community college.
Mom and dad are paying taxes. It's getting paid by somebody.
We're giving them a well-rounded education to help develop them so they have good financial skills, right? How many technicians have we seen that have financial problems? Or service advisors have we seen that have financial problems? What is it that we can teach them there to help them avoid that? Because that was the interesting thing about that meeting yesterday. It was about developing well-rounded Americans. It wasn't just about developing Americans. It was about developing well-rounded Americans that know the things that maybe we missed last time, that have the education of things that maybe we wanted them to know that they didn't have. But if they don't have community involvement, if they don't hear that from anybody except a big corporation, guess what never happens? They never get that education. Right. And look, I get your beef with the big dealerships walking in and saying, hey, we'll give you a couple $1 million, build this nice school. I mean, there's a school in North Carolina that's like that, and it is all but guaranteed to push somebody to one of those dealerships. Absolutely, every single time. And it sucks. It really does. But that doesn't mean we can't be involved. We can be involved. And they have welcomed our involvement, even in that school. So I don't think that's the right answer.
I'm just telling you got an anomaly there. I think the better approach for the rest of the country is to partner up with an association and have something a little bit more structured. And yeah, if they're wanting to have people come into your shop and learn, if you've got something structured and you have the capability of doing it. But then that's still a double-edged sword, because who's got the capacity to have extra people come in? These dirtbag flat rate shops that
wish you wouldn't talk about
I think
Mike
he's
like
muted.
that while he's sitting
He's
there.
muted. No, I'm not Mike Allen. Carfix is a
all the
fantastic
other dirtbag
institution, but the other dirtbag flat rate shops that are just strictly flat rate, and everybody's on commission, and they have the extra space and they have the extra capacity, and they're the ones that are in the magazines, and they're on the freaking social media ads that are being pushed out.
But
whose faces are you looking on there? It's not the small mom and pop shop that's trying to change the way the things are done, and it can't be the same thing we've been doing the last 25 years because it's resulted in a huge technician shortage.
What percentage of small mom and pop shops are out there trying to change the industry versus trying to make payroll next week?
It can be at the same time, dear. We can both be trying to change the industry and meet
so
payroll
you're
at the
painting
same time.
you're painting pictures with very broad strokes of dirtbag flat rate shops, right? And then
like the massive generalization.
Cape-wearing superhero small mom and pop shops. What's the tipping point when you go from small mom and pop to dirtbag? How many bays or how many cars?
The minute you start sending out cheapy oil change coupons to pump your shop full of cars, because hold on. There's a caveat. You're open long hours. You're open on Saturdays. because you want extra cars, and you instruct them to find that one thing broken, so I can sell them as much work as possible, or
What
get
if you're
them
open
to
on
leave
Saturdays,
the car.
but employees only work 4 days a week?
No, I don't like it.
Just
Sorry.
kind of dirty, but not total dirtbag.
No, it's entirely dirtbaggish.
So
It
if your
sets the
employees
tone.
get
It sets the tone.
3 days a week off, 3 days a week off, still a dirtbag.
Yes, because somebody has to work on a Saturday. I don't care that it's rotating. So what? We want weekends off because we shouldn't have to work on Saturdays, and Sundays should be family time. But because
What if you don't have a family?
these shop owners are greedy, they
What if you don't
want
have a
that
family?
extra. What's that?
What if you don't have a family? Or what
You
if you're
can
trying to
extend
hustle so
out
you
your
can save up
you
to
can-
buy a house?
You can extend out the family into the community, into your church family. It can be.
You just
more
said
than
you don't
just
make
blood.
friends.
I don't. I'm just saying, if you don't have a family, I've got a family. So if you don't have a family, you can still extend that out. I have employees that don't have a wife and kids and stuff like that. So what do? They have stuff they do on the weekends. They have extra activities they like to take care of on the weekends. That
Like working on cars.
No, not working on cars. It had nothing to do with working on cars. They like to go do fun stuff
You sure?
that they enjoy doing. It keeps them well-rounded. It can't be all work and no play. And so they can't do that if every third Saturday you have to work because I'm
So what
going
you're
to be
saying
open
is-
on Saturdays.
So what you're saying
If you're open on
is
Saturday, you're evil.
the
Sorry.
only
That's
way
it.
to
Yeah.
do this, the
It's
only way to
black and
skin
white.
this cat is the way that you skin this cat. Every
The
other
only
way.
way to skin this cat is to not be open on Saturdays. Yes.
But what about Sunday? Sunday good?
No, not the Lord's Day. That's even worse. That's even worse. Here's what I'm saying. Look, back in the day, parts stores used to be open Monday through Friday. Okay, and on Saturday and Sunday they weren't open. Then it turned into we're open on Saturdays because there was a lot of like DIYers. But the jobber stores were only open Monday through Friday because that's when the shops were open, the majority of the shops, right? What ended up happening, you have these huge retail companies came in and they said, hey, we're going to be open on Saturdays and Sundays, and we're going to sell $19 brake pads. And on the weekends, we're going to jack them up $1 or $2 so we make an extra buck. And we're going to start staffing our stores, not with professionals that know what the hell they're doing. No. We're going to staff them with kids because they'll work for $8 an hour. And we're going to add software to the whole equation in order to give them a crutch because they don't know what the hell they're doing. So we're going to give them better software. And we're going to keep dumbing down and ruining this industry that now you walk into a parts store and it's full of kids. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They sell fuzzy dice. They don't have that clutch kit you need in stock because they need the shelf space for fuzzy dice and fancy waxes, and that's it. That's essentially what you're going to end up with automotive repair. I'm just saying that the same thing that happened in the parts stores is going to happen in the automotive industry. And yeah, we're probably tilting at windmills at this point, but it's going to be the shops that are open 7 days a week that have the I know but I'm gonna die on this boat. It's already taken on water and I'm gonna drown
2
with
boats.
it. You have 2 boats. I don't. I'm in a rowboat. You kidding me? And it's taking on water. And so
look,
rather than actually, care about my employees, I'm just gonna put words on a wall that says I care about employees, and then that'll be just as good.
I will never forget. I don't know if you know this story, Mike, but I will never forget. Sunil walks in. We do a podcast with Sunil at some point, and we get done. David's sitting across the table from him, and Sunil had talked about culture and all this other shit. Excuse my language. And David looks at him, and he's like, "Company culture is complete bullshit. You know that, right?" And I was like, oh, dude, I felt my heart stop. And so it was so crazy because he did.
We recorded it. They can listen to the podcast.
No, you didn't say what you said on the podcast. You took it. We had already ended. And so Sunil came back. I think it was a full year later. And Sunil came back and he handed David this little pamphlet. And he said, "You're right. Company culture is bullshit. So I fixed it." And he gave his staff actionable item cards based on what it was that David had said. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Hey, but it's not just the event tomorrow night. And listen, if you folks still want to come, right? You want to come to the event tomorrow night, you can come hang out at my shop. We're gonna meet at my shop.
The link is in the description.
Yeah. Links in the description. We're gonna hang out at my shop, and then we're gonna go over to Watauga High.
I'm gonna hide.
You got it?
Hide the company name. Yeah, I'm gonna hide the company name. Nobody knows who Sunil works for, but anyway, he mapped out his company culture with actionable items.
That's
and
pretty
this
cool.
is what we're gonna work on every single day. The point was, everybody says, "Oh, our culture makes a difference." You ever see the guy that talks about hiring exceptional people? Like they interview an Elon Musk or a Steve Jobs, and they're like, "Hey, what's made your company so successful?" And they always say, "Oh, we hire unbelievable people. We hire the exceptional, and hiring those exceptional people has made us the company that we are today." And the guy's like, "What's the average normal business supposed to do? Just the everyday mom and pop business. They're not hiring exceptional people. Like, where the hell do you even find exceptional people? And then you're having to compete with Apple for this exceptional person. You're not going to win. Apple's going to get them 100% of the time. So what do you do?" And so the guy's like, it's terrible advice. What you should be doing is, rather than trying to find exceptional people, is how about making normal people be able to do their jobs exceptionally well? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. But the
company culture is BS.
The 10-80-10, right? The mountain of average, productive discomfort. It's hard. It's not.
You're just saying buzzwords. I don't even know what the hell you're saying.
No, seriously. You God damn it! You've never watched the video. I see where our friendship stops.
Is this a Tim Kite video? If it's Andy Andrews or Tim Kite, I'm just gonna not watch any of it. Okay. Also,
hey, listen.
Cut it down to a 30-second reel, and I'll watch.
Okay, I'll cut it down to a 30-second reel. I'll send it to you. But I am getting ready to go have a really nice dinner with my team that you were supposed to be at. It looks like a really nice high-end restaurant, so I just want you to know that's where I'm going to be.
Hey, Lucas, that's really good for your company culture.
It is. It is.
The pizza parties don't make a difference. I don't care how fancy that pizza is.
It was actually kind of because I was hungry and wanted a nice meal. But anyway, I do have to point this out.
Hey, where does ASC come in to all this? Somebody wanted to know.
They need to wait for that podcast from ASTE about ASE.
Oh, with Mike Clary? Yeah.
Yeah, I just got an email that had some folks in it and mentioning that and talking about it, even though that podcast is not out yet. And they had some really interesting perspective. I have a feeling we're going to be doing another podcast on ASE really soon. I'm not going to spill the cookies on that. ASE right now, does it play into it? No, it does not. Nobody plays any relevance to ASE right now because they've not done a good job of marketing themselves to the industry. They've not done a good job of marketing themselves to the consumer.
They only market to the industry.
Well, they've not even done a good job of that. And really what they did in the eyes of many is that they sold out and they created lower test and they made test easier for people to be able to pass. And I don't mean that as a disrespect, but it kind of lessened, especially to those who really know what they're doing. To them, it was kind of like a blow. It was like, man, so now you're just going to create all these other tests so they too can be ASE certified. But to do that job, I also had to go do this. Right. So to them, it was almost like a slap in the face to some of the higher certified technicians, I think. And I think it damaged the perspective of ASE. Hey, I do want to share something, though. David, I'm so sorry. I'm voluntolding you right here on live air. And because it's live, you have to do it. Tomorrow night, Mike Allen is doing a live stream. And oh, I forgot to tell you about that, didn't I? Sorry, Mike.
Is he doing it?
Yeah, he's doing it.
Guess. Maybe.
What's this then? What are we doing here?
Well,
he's hanging out.
Look,
We're announced. This is a live stream to announce another live stream.
This is
a meeting for the meeting.
It's a meeting for the meeting. That's a thing.
So Mike Allen on Friday night always has a few bourbons, and ASTA leadership, which is, like the president and the vice president and all of those people, decided Mike Allen is so cheerful and funny that he needs to be on a live stream after those few bourbons. And so that's what's happening.
So Mike Allen's going to be drunk on the internet?
Yes, it's going to be
Won't
great.
be the first time.
I won't be there, but David's gonna
hit up my
come in and
OnlyFans.
moderate and manage things.
I can
David,
do that.
are you going to be there? Are you going to be?
I will not be there.
There
I
you go.
will be. I can be the producer on the background. In the background, just get the live stream set up and get you guys rolling. Am I gonna get on here and rant? I'm out of material. We already covered. If you know, you know. Let's burn that thing to the ground. What was the other thing? I forgot. It was super important.
The
It must have been
podcast has
super
no topic.
important. Oh yeah, that's right. Quit asking for topics. Do you know how hard it is to come up with titles? AI can't do it.
can
You
you
punch
guys
it into
start putting-
AI, and AI's like, that's what
was
I get back
that?
from AI.
Can you start putting
Huh?
episode numbers at the beginning of your?
I do.
Of your episodes. Do you-
Every single episode has got a number. What are you talking about?
Hang on.
Rah, 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 rah. What? You know who doesn't do that?
Hey, what?
Mr.
what do you guys
AI
wanna talk
only.
do you guys
Everything
wanna
gets
talk about
dumped
tomorrow
into
night?
AI. What's that?
What do you guys want to talk about tomorrow night? Since you're both gonna be there.
I'm
won't
not going to be there, and he's going to be at a restaurant.
No, I'm not going to be at a restaurant. I'm going to the restaurant like in 20 minutes. And so I probably need to go change. So, but my point is, look, my point is that David will be there and will help Mike continue the rants.
So, I mean, I want to talk about like loss leaders and if they're evil or not. I know how David feels about cheap oil change loss leaders. I'm a cheap oil change whore. I always have been. I want to talk about.
Do you do
commodity
it just
pricing.
because it works?
Yeah.
But have you tried anything else?
Oh well, this
I
is
am
working
so
great.
sorry.
You
I
know
did
what I
not mean
should
to
do?
laugh at that.
I should fuck it up.
If it's a net evil on the industry, then yes.
So
Hey,
I think we could
just
argue
have to be
is
real
it a
with
net
you.
evil?
We cannot start this conversation right now because I am going to this dinner. I swear to God,
Okay,
I'm going to
then
this
I'll
dinner.
kick you off the stream. I don't care. Good, leave.
Okay, well,
We
I'm going to
can
kick
yell
myself
about it.
off the stream and let y'all argue.
David, we can talk about it tomorrow, man. 7
No,
p.m.
I'm
tomorrow.
I can't do that. I gotta pick up.
I'm
my
just
kids
going
and
to tell
stuff like
everybody
that.
what you said about how it's not really that bad if it works.
No, I just said the exact opposite.
Well, if you're not there, you can't defend yourself. So
Here's the thing: like the difference between you, Mike Allen, is I just kicked Lucas off. The difference, though, is that you actually use it as a loss leader in that you lose money on it. A lot of shops do not. They will buy the cheapest oil that they can get their hands on. They will beat up their supplier for cheaper oil if they have to, and they will use the cheapest oil filters imaginable, and that's what they put on the customer's cart. And so the customer walks into your shop, and they walk into Bob's Discount Auto Repair, featuring the $19.99 oil change special, and they walk into your shop for whatever, $19 or whatever it happens to be. And they're getting Dexos 2 oil with an OE oil filter and a good inspection. And they're going into Bob's Discount Auto Repair, and they're getting the cheapest oil possible and a 50-cent oil filter, and they think they're getting the same thing. And you can explain it all day long, but at the end of the day, they got an oil change, and that's all they know.
So I think it's interesting that the cheap oil change is the thing that you've chosen to focus on as being, well, it's like flat rate and the cheap oil change are the primary.
And open
whipping
on
boys
Saturdays.
that you pick, and Saturdays.
Long hours too. The 7
Hey,
to 7
I got
garbage.
I got 2 out of 3 of those. So
What about 7 to 7? You open 7 to 7?
no, we're 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, but I'm not opposed to a rotating 4-day schedule and being open for your customers more. if that's what the customers want, and you can do it without negatively impacting the quality of life of your team.
I don't think you can't avoid negatively impacting the quality of life for your team. There's no way around it. You are positioning your customers' misplaced needs over your staff and their quality of life and their happiness and all that garbage. And instead, to make yourself feel better, you put all of your values on the wall. And you're
So
like, my team
there are people in the
matters to
world.
me.
There are people in the world who want to work a lot and make a lot of money, right? If they want to work, and I give them the opportunity to work, who's being hurt by that? Serving my customer more. I'm giving them the opportunity to work more. I'm giving them the opportunity to make more money.
For the people that want to work and make a ton of money and things like that, they are setting themselves up for regret. And you know it, and I know it. You know it and don't care. And I'm saying like you hypothetically. I'm not saying that's actually what's happening here. But I'm saying if you do those things, if you're like, I'm going to hire this person and work them like a borrowed mule because that's what they want to do. Let's say, okay, but you know that's not right. And you don't want to offer any direction or, hey, let me give you a little perspective here. You're going to wake up 10 years from now.
Who am I to tell that person what's right for them?
No.
You believe in personal freedom, right?
You're offering
personal freedom and the right to choose what you do.
Yes, I agree with all that. But you're also you have to offer them some perspective. You say, hey, this is something that you might want to consider. You're 23 years old. And what was I doing when I was 23 years old? I was working 80 hours a week. Because I'm 23 years old. Like, why not? I don't have any kids. Like, what do I care? I didn't have a family, right? I had a girlfriend. She's my wife now. But other than that, like, I was working 80 hours a week. And I had no problem with it. And I was like, oh, I'm just furthering my career. I'm making a bunch of money. I'm going to be able to,
And if some 45-year-old dude was like, hey, man, your body's going to hurt later in life if you keep doing that. Don't do that. Because when you were 25 years old, didn't you always listen to the 45-year-old guy telling you what not to do?
I wish somebody at 45 years old, and I'm not 45, but somebody at a very young-looking 43-year-old had walked up to me and said, hey, let me give you some advice. This company doesn't give two craps about you, and the first wrong thing you're going to do, they're going to fire you. And even though you're going to make them a ton of money, and you're going to be wildly successful, and you're going to bring all these people in to make more of their stores wildly successful, the minute you do one thing that they don't think is appropriate, even though it was to the net benefit of the company, they're going to dump you and leave you high and dry in a city where you don't know anybody with a 12-month-long lease you just signed. And then they're going to They're going to take back the money they gave you to move. They're going to take it out of your last paycheck. So you were relying on that last paycheck to float you for a month or two.
You're so hurt, man.
You are
so
going
damaged.
to get nothing. You spent 80 hours of your life every week working for hard to the core for this company, and they're going to dump you
for free. For free. You didn't
nothing.
get compensated. You didn't make a penny in those 80 hours.
I didn't make
you were
any
on
extra
your
money.
knees at the altar of that company and didn't even ask for money because you loved them so much. They were giving you a paycheck every week? You were making a shit ton of money every week, and you were able to do whatever you wanted to?
Do you want to know? I was being compensated for 45 hours, and everything extra was encouraged, but not required. It was encouraged because if you did what you were supposed to do, they gave you 80 hours worth of work. And they said you've got to do it.
That's a problem for taking it.
What's that? They do it to everybody. They do it to absolutely everybody. They do
Work
it
for
to
somebody
everybody.
else.
Work
for somebody else.
Well, I didn't know any better. I ended up having to work for somebody else. But guess what? The other place did it too. And then if you figure out the system and you're like, you know what? I'm going to exploit this. They call you out on it, and they're like, hey, you're not working your hours. The hell? You don't say anything if I work too much, but you have a problem if I don't work enough? Flip you.
So
the point is
my
that
fear is that
perspective is not being offered. Perspective.
You had a bad series of experiences, and it shaped your worldview and your
mine
life
was not
view.
unique. Hold on, mine is not unique. It's not a unique situation.
You paint the entire industry and everybody who does it differently with that intent. And that intent is not the intent
industry
of everyone in the industry.
Exploitation? Yeah, it is. BS. 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 It is 100% exploitation. They know better. They know better. You know why? They don't do it themselves. They don't do it themselves. It'd be different if they were like, you know what? I'm working 70 hours here next to you. They're not. What are they doing? They're on their boat. They're on their boat
they did
taking pictures of them flying their airplanes that they just bought or on a flipping cruise while their guys are working 80 hours a week and they're like, hey, good company, man. Slap on the back. Here's a big bonus check. Get out of here.
Were they on the boat the first 10 years of their business? Or
Not
were they
for
working
10.
70 hours a week?
No.
70 hours a week to get to the point that they could have a boat.
No. It wasn't through effort. It was somebody coming in going, hey, you don't have to do this. Here's a fast track to not having to do this. Oh, what's the fast track? Cheap oil changes, 7 to 7 shifts, work every Saturday, flat rate everybody. Everybody's on salary. And you're like,
everybody's on salary?
Or everybody's on commission. Sorry. Nobody on salary. Everybody's on commission. And they're like, is that the magic formula? Yes. You're like, oh, well, bet. Let's do it. Within a year, they're on their boat.
Did you just say bet?
Yeah, bet. Like, bet. Let's do it. Like, let's go.
I didn't realize you were 14. Sorry.
Whoa. I'm sorry, the 14-year-olds, that's a Hispanic thing. You kidding me? From way back in the day, you said bet. As a Hispanic person, that's what you say. I'm sorry the 14-year-olds think it's cool, because it is cool. But now they're saying it, and somehow I'm 14 because I say it. Your kids say bet?
My 13-year-old does, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Tell them it was from Hispanic origins. You know what else?
Hey,
13-year-olds say, if you know, you know.
Do you know any shop owners that do it the way that you say it should be done, that have 5 stores or more?
Whoa. No, they don't.
Have a boat.
They don't. They don't have 5 stores. They don't.
So how are you going? You're going to change the industry with a wave of single store operators or 2-store operators?
Yes.
I think you are tilting at windmills.
I know I'm tilting at windmills. That's not the point. I can still tilt all I want.
Full tilt.
I'm going full tilt. Look. In my mind, everybody should be Michael Byers or Dutch Silverstein.
I don't think we need those voices. Like, I'm excited to have Dutch writing columns in Ratchet and Wrench. I think that's going to be.
That's a shift.
If they don't heavily edit his content, he'll quit if they edit his content.
Yes, he will. You'll be so angry. And they have no idea what they signed up for. I feel bad for them. They listen to Lucas and they're like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. They have no idea what they signed up for. He's going to say something to be like, hey, we can't print this. Like, this is one of our sponsors.
We just need to get him fired up and get him to go on one of his 5-minute diatribes and then just transcribe it into a column right there. Complete with all of his Yiddish euphemisms and everything else. So,
and I'm not saying that they are proof that you don't have to do it. Now, if you dig in deeper, did they get lucky? Did they get, you listen to Dutch's story. That was maybe a little bit of right time, right place. Maybe you could say that, but there was
also a lot of 70 and 80 hours a week.
A lot of 70 and 80 hours a week. Yeah.
But I thought that was the evil way to do it.
No. You're not understanding what I'm saying. The 70 to 80 hours a week
for employees. It's okay for the employer, but not for the employee. It's
okay for the employer. It's not okay for the employee. Yes. Why? Okay. Because the employer gets all the benefit. And the employee gets
the employee gets compensated. They should be compensated
not
fairly.
Not in equity, they don't. Not in equity. They get a
Why should they get equity? They don't have the risk. They're not going to go bankrupt, and their house is not going to get taken if it goes tits up.
Which is why they shouldn't be working 70 or 80 hours a week.
If they want to, and they feel like they're being paid enough to justify it.
No, I don't care if they want to. They shouldn't have to.
People's right people's right to choose.
They can choose
What they
to
want
not
for
work for
themselves.
me.
That's fine. And they'll come work for the people that do want to give them an
Okay,
opportunity
and I
to
can
make as
say,
much as
have
they
fun
want.
getting exploited. And they were like,
And
yeah,
that,
I'm
and
going to
that,
go make
and
so
that
much
owner's
money.
going to have a boat.
Yeah, he's going to have a boat.
By the way, I actually don't have a boat. It would be awesome to have an airplane, though. Wouldn't it be awesome?
No,
It would be awesome.
That's a lot of money.
Oh,
I
my
don't,
God. No, you don't need TSA or Clear then. You just get on your
I
fucking
know,
plane and go.
I know, that is cool. But not at the same time, it's like, I don't need it. That's dumb.
Lucas needs to be a televangelist, and he could get a plane in like 3 years.
Did you ever see the video? The lady walks up to him and like, why you ended up getting this plane on donations from little old ladies? And the guy's like, you see, I'm very busy. Do you ever see that clip? I don't remember the name of the televangelist. It's
like,
a televangelist. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The guy's like,
It's gonna be Baker, right?
It's not Baker, but it's one of those guys.
Maybe the dude from Liberty, the one who had the like the pool boy for his wife. Dude, I'm supposed to be working right now, man.
What?
I got a team meeting in an hour.
Do you really? Oral Roberts. That's no, it's Kenneth Copeland. That's who it is.
Ah, yeah.
Kenneth Copeland. He gets confronted by Inside Edition, and they're like, "You got this fleet of planes. They bankrolled a $54 million jet, and it's so he could avoid having to fly commercial." The Lord wanted me to have these planes, but you fly commercial. Like, okay.
Hey, so
okay,
I'm
buddy.
buying dinner for the front office teams at all the shops we're gathering tonight, and we're doing 2 hours of kind of like, I like to say that it's like a mad science lab. Like we just spit out ideas. We're like, okay, we're going to try this idea next week, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't, we'll scrap it. We do that once a month, and it's 6 to 8, and they get paid for the time, and we provide dinner. But that is until 8 p.m. Does that make me a horrible person?
I mean, in general, yes, but no, it's fine. Look, I have no problem with that kind of stuff. It's whatever. I'm just you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these dealerships do it. They make their service advisors work 7 to 7, 5 days a week. And it's, hey, when somebody pulls into the service drive, it's the first person that gets out there gets the commission, and everybody's racing. The smart ones race to get in front and get that first person that gets pulled into the service drive, and then they feign all this like interest and, hey, I'm going to mention
hard do you
your
think it
bumper
is
sticker
How hard do you think it is for a high level advisor or a high level technician to get a job right now if they want to change jobs?
It's not hard, but it's not hard. We tell people
So
that all the time.
if their fear of change,
it's fear of change,
or their
yes.
complacency,
Complacency,
keeps them in
yes.
that position, whose fault is that?
It's entirely their own. But at the same time, does it make it right that they're being exploited in that fashion? It doesn't make it right. The company knows better, but they don't care. And
I disagree with the premise that it's exploitation, because if when they apply for the job, they know the hours, they know how they're compensated, they walk into it eyes open, willfully, and every week they get a paycheck that is obviously good enough for them to stay. Otherwise, they wouldn't stay.
They don't stay that long. Some of them do. Some of them end up overcoming the difficulties, but there's a lot of turnover too.
There's a lot of turnover in 80%.
Exactly. Why? Because
it's hard to be good at it.
It's hard to be. Well, it's not even. It requires that you be able to tap into your network in a fashion that gets you over sustainability. So you have to then all of a sudden hit up all your friends, family, every single one of your community groups. Everybody you know has to get hit up for insurance, to the point where the
ones who hit up their friends and family are the ones who make it 18 months.
They all hit up their friends and family.
Man.
At the beginning, they all hit their friends and family. They all have to. Like, who else are you gonna get? They'll give you a customer list. Just like when you go start, you become a car salesman. You get the list. But what are you also doing? You're hitting up everybody you know. Hey, can I sell you a car? Can I sell you a car? Because I'm working on commission, purely on commission. Is it better for the company to put everybody on commission than it is to pay them a salary?
Change subject. Well, to that subject. Is there any type of performance reward compensation that is not unethical?
I think
should everyone be salary only?
I think the only thing that I think is, I sound like a commie. This I cannot believe you like
100% sounds like
super communist.
This is our shop. This is not your shop. This is our shop.
Yes, it should be our shop. Employee owned something or another. Yeah, that's the only way you can make it work.
Comrade.
I'm sorry.
So
I've seen what happens. It just there's no
flat rate creates lying, cheating monsters who cut corners, right? And there are no flat rate technicians in the world that aren't lying, cheating monsters that don't cut corners, right? Because that's the assumption. And we both know that that's BS, right? There are world-class technicians that are straight salary. There are world-class technicians that are straight flat rate. There are hybrid plans. And there are total shitbag technicians and all three of those also. Same for service advisors.
But here's the thing.
Same for owners.
Here's the thing. I in a sense, I agree with you. Here's the problem. I think 10. It's a 10, 80, 10 thing. You're gonna have 10% that are gonna lie, cheat, and steal no matter what, because that's what they do. You're gonna have 10% that will never lie, cheat, and steal no matter what, even if it's a detriment to them, a drastic detriment to them, because they never lie, cheat, or steal. And then you have the 80% that are gonna swing one way or the other. Everything's gray. Everything's gray. And so if you set up the structure to incentivize being sketchy, 80%, 90% of the people in that system are going to do sketchy shit. There's no way around it.
100% of the people in your business are 100% salary.
It still applies. The 100% of my people, yes, except for me. Well, even then, I'm kind of salary. But I just don't get paid myself very much.
So how do you reward them when they kick ass and take names?
The perks. Now I don't have a full, like, I don't know how Michael Byer does it. My dream is to go out to a shop and spend a week just like following him around so I can pick up as much stuff as I can. Dutch walks too fast, so I can't do that with him. He's just too fast. And he talks a lot, and he's just all over the place.
Is this Michael Byer in Nashville that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's
the guy with the lines. The guy with the lines on the ground, like, he's got a place for everything, and it's like, hey, I got a cutout. In my mind, the only thing that I can see is as both sustainable and rewards good performance is to pay them a salary that makes them financially whole. And then in order to exceed that, and hey, we need to push performance to a higher standard and higher levels, we add perks within the company. What's a perk? So, hey, why don't we add company cell phones? You pay for it with post-tax dollars. Instead, I'm going to supply you with a cell phone, and I pay for your data and your cell phone. And as long as you're with the company, you get the perk of having a cell phone, but guess what? You don't have to pay for it out of pocket. And you get a new cell phone every year or every 2 years or whatever, right? Company vehicles. Let's give them cars to drive. Hey, you don't have to drive your personal vehicle anymore. Pick a car that you want, purchased by the company. It's going to be owned by the company. You get to drive for freezies. I'll pay for your car insurance.
You do these things?
We're working on it. I do some of them. But like that, the meeting we had recently was the plan for 2024 is let's expand out and let's get wildly creative about what we can roll into the company that will cut down on things that you have to pay with your own salary. Like there's certain I can't pay their rent for them, right? I can't pay their rent for them. But what can I pay for them that they're paying out of pocket right now? I don't have to increase.
Point is like where, okay, if we hit this goal, then you get a company cell phone, or is it just, hey, I feel like you've done well this year? So I'm
Yeah.
gonna
So
give you this
yeah,
upfront?
it has to be broken down into dollars and cents that have to be achieved on a consistent basis. And hey, if we can, and some of it's just lump sum. But you know, I have these wild dreams, dude. Like in my estimation, in my mind, there's no reason why, rather than so I this is just me spitballing here, but I've got an employee that is renting a house, okay, and he had roommates. His roommate left. He couldn't find another roommate, and he's like, "Man, I'm going to be short because I was relying on that other person to pay for some of the rent." Okay, what are you short? No, I'm just going to be short, X amount of dollars. It's like, okay, well then we bumped up salary to cover that. And hey, you don't have to have a roommate anymore. So guess what? He doesn't have a roommate anymore, right? So he can live by himself. He doesn't have to bother with a roommate. But let's take it a step further. Hey, let's get you, like, what's the debt look like on your side? What's your credit look like? Okay, how much money are you going to need to put down in order to get you into a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex? And let's start looking at where can we move you to in the area where you can pick up a fourplex, live in one of those, and start collecting rent on the other three. How much money are you going to have down? I'm going to have $80,000 down. Okay, if the company is healthy enough and running lean enough, right, can you take that, have this big bonus paid out, and say, hey, I'm going to pay this to you, or can you gift certain dollar amount of it from your own personal money and gift it over to that employee? Figure out a way in order for them to be able to put that down and move them into a fourplex. You entirely company funded. Some of it is taxable, some of it is not taxable. It's whatever, right? You figure out a way to do this in the most advantageous possible way, and you move them into, and is now their performance is directly tied to the company succeeding enough for them to be able to do things for them on an individual basis. Does that make sense?
Two things. Yeah, absolutely. Two things. One, that's a beautiful dream, and that is an amazing. It's a window into your heart. Like your what you present, right, is one thing, but that's awesome. But I fear that something that grand a scale, like how good would it feel to be able to do that for one of your team? Like it would be amazing.
Yeah.
How much volume would your business need to produce to spin off enough net that you could reach your goals and you could give a single employee an $80,000 windfall that he's earned, right, by helping you hit your goals? But obviously your other employees are also going to be getting some windfall of some sort, right? Maybe not at the same level, but so let's say that you got,
yeah, it has to be equitable. So you got to figure out who's
Yeah.
been with me the longest. Well, this person's been with me the longest. Okay, this person's going to get bumped to the front of the line. What
so
can
maybe
we do for them?
So let's say you've got 5 people on your team.
Yeah.
And so you're going to give $250,000 and that divided up however you want amongst them. What percentage of your total net in that year do you think it takes to get that $250,000? And then how much volume do you need? Can one store produce enough volume to produce enough net to be able to do that with that kind of team?
So so the math is getting done right now in order to make this achievable.
Mm-hmm.
Can it be done? So two things have to happen. One, me personally, I'm going to be taking less money. Now, my wife works and she makes a lot of money. So do I need to take out that much money out of the business? No. But
yeah, that's okay.
I would like to not have her work. Now, it's going to be up to her whether she wants to continue to work or whatever. She's not happy doing exactly what she's doing. She likes the company she loves the company she works for. She hates the exact position she's in right now, and just because this is not challenging enough for her or whatever. And she hates the capacity they have her in. But that wasn't true 2 years ago. They had her in a different capacity. I absolutely loved it, and they moved her into this other role. Okay, so let's say I can pull enough money out of the business to pay us what we're making now and not have her work. Anything over that is fair game in my mind. Because if I pull anything more than that, it's just going to be fucking taxed. What do I need anything more than that? I don't. So, okay, let's get it to where I'm whole. I'm sustainable in an ideal situation where I'm not sacrificing my wife's dreams and desires and my children's future in order for me to do stuff for my employees. But once I get to that point, anything over and above that. Now, how do I achieve that? The numbers work out to a certain percentage of productivity per employee, and we run it lean. That's it. There's enough surplus in that I have kept my rent factor low enough. I have my overhead low enough, and if I pay down the debt that I've got to a certain point, that's going to be A1. Like, I've got to stay out of debt. That we can then start choosing. Like, we can replace some of this equipment that needs to be replaced. I've got a lift that needs to be replaced in my shop very badly. I'd like to be able to pay cash for that. I don't want to have to, finance it. Let's pay cash, but then I get to depreciate the whole thing anyway. But you get to a certain point where you're like, I don't need to spend any more money. We have good enough retained earnings. We've hit a certain dollar amount, whatever that happens to be. It'll float me for 3 months if we get shut down because of COVID or whatever, right? It'll float me for 3 months. Anything past that is, let's start doing some crazy shit. Why not?
Yeah, I think that's admirable. I like, my wife is, and we're getting off on some real tangents here. She doesn't want things like, she wants nice experiences. She wants to be able to take the kids to the beach in the summer, right? She wants to be able to take the kids to the mountains in the winter. And, but like, I want nice stuff. I don't want boats. I don't want airplanes. I don't want cars, but I want like really good whiskey, and I want, fun experiences. I want to go to Vegas and hang out with my friends and that kind of stuff. I want a beach house. That's my goal. That's my 2 boats is to get a beach house.
Yeah.
So I'm driven to build a business that is more profitable, that generates more revenue. And I've said on your podcast before, I think the industry goal is 20% net, right? Is what everybody throws out. 20%. That's not my target. My target is a number significantly lower than that, because I want to pay a bunch of people really well and give really good benefits so that they do their job really well, and that I, have a degree of freedom in my life. I think those two things can exist at the same time. And you can want to do well for people, and you can want to be profitable, and you can want to be multi-store, and you can, have modified flat rate, and you can have cheap oil changes, and things like that.
I agree. I agree with you to a certain point. Some of what I want to do is not scalable. So the minute you start adding staff to what I'm talking about, it adds to the factor. Like, all of a sudden, I can't buy a duplex for 3 people. I can do it for 1 person. And 3 people is doable, but let's say not 10. Let's say not 20. Whatever the number happens to be. Maybe it's not a duplex, but, like, am I going to buy company cars for 35 people because I own 3 stores and they have 10 employees each and stuff like? Well, now the dollar amount is too high, and you start adding in personalities. I have 3 employees. I used to have 6. I'm down to 3. Okay, so 3 employees, we can align our goals to say, hey, we all want a beach house. So let's buy a beach house. The company has a beach house. You see what I'm saying? It's owned by the company. Everybody uses it. Time shared. I get to use it whenever I want. They get to use it when they take their vacations. We still have to hit the dollar amount to pay for it, and this, that, and the other. So all that's still doable, but we all want the beach house. We all want the beach house. Once you start adding 7 more people to the factor, like, some of those people are like, I don't want to go to the beach. It's like,
so pull back into the earlier conversation about 100% salary, no performance-based pay. That is performance-based compensation. We hit these goals, you're going to get these things. So there's still the potential for human motivation for people who are in that 80% to push hard in ways that are inappropriate to get to that goal. So it's just, you're putting lipstick on that pig, right? If if that's the hill you want to die on about compensation, then there can't be any performance-based improvements.
We haven't up to this point, we haven't had anything extravagant or defined. Everything extra goes into a retirement account, which they don't get any access to until they're 67 or whatever.
Well, I got a buddy who does 529 plans for the children of every employee that he has.
That's cool.
And how much
he puts a scam?
He puts a certain amount into it, but if they hit goals, he puts a larger amount into it, right?
I love
think
that.
That's a pretty cool benefit. Yeah.
Maybe not 529 because it's a terrible vehicle and it's college is a scam and it turns into a whole thing. But the idea behind it is fantastic. And that's what I told them. Like, that's how we started out. It's like, hey, any extra money gets into your retirement account because one, I just want to make you whole. That you want to go buy this or buy that or whatever. That's great. It's whatever. Like, we can talk about increased salary, but you really should be dumping the rest of it into retirement. I just met with my insurance agent yesterday about life insurance policies for all my guys. And, one of my guys is like, who am I supposed to leave that money to? I'm going to be dead. I don't care. It's like, great. But guess what? The other people probably have somebody they can leave it to. Family, friends, girlfriends, whatever. Pick somebody. But at the end of the day, when you die, we shouldn't have to go fund for your funeral costs.
Yeah, we do $50,000 of paid life insurance for every employee just because there's no underwriting at that level. So I mean, that's easy to get, right? And it's cheap.
Super cheap.
Yeah, so that's a benefit every small shop should have for their employees.
But most don't.
I think there are neat abnormal benefit opportunities out there that can make your employment package more appealing as a small employer to compete against the dealerships and the big corporate chains. That's a conversation that I love to be a part of too. There's some really cool ways that you can. I mean, yeah, that's another conversation, and it's almost 5 o'clock. I gotta go to the shop.
Okay, we'll cut it off.
All right, see you, man.
Bye.